Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm finally going to wrap up all the books that I read in the month of April 2023. So in the month of April, I read 6 books for a total of 1,830 pages. Unfortunately, my average rating was only 3.25 stars out of 5. I had a lot of 3s this month, and there was nothing that was actively bad, but there were several books that I personally found disappointing. So let's get right into it. First, I read The Scottish Ladies Detective Agency by Lydia Travers. This was an arc on NetGalley, so thank you so much to the publisher Bookouture for giving me an advanced reader copy. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. I'm not going to say too much about it because I am going to film another arc reviews video where I will talk about this and 2 other arcs that I have to read. I'll just say about this, I thought it was good, but it was not super memorable to me. So this book takes place in the early 1900s in Edinburgh and the surrounding Scottish countryside. I think it takes place in the Edwardian era, but I'm having a hard time remembering now. The main character, she is a wealthy young woman who has just decided to start her own private detective agency. Our main character, Maud, is assisted by her former lady's maid turned assistant, Daisy. For their first case, they are hired by a duchess to go undercover at a house party at her country estate. Recently, several members of the Scottish aristocracy have been the victim of jewel thefts, so the Duchess wants Maud and Daisy to go undercover to prevent a similar theft from taking place at her party. Of course, though, at the party, somebody then ends up dying. This book is definitely a cozy historical mystery, so if you're into cozy mysteries, you might like this. I want to say it would be good for people who like the Lady Hardcastle mysteries, but I actually haven't read Lady Hardcastle yet, so maybe they're nothing alike, but just based on their similar concepts and similar vibes, I think they might be comparable, but I actually haven't read Lady Hardcastle yet, so maybe I'm totally off base here. All in all, I thought this book was okay. I think one thing I wish was different is I wish that we actually got chapters from Daisy's perspective, because we don't actually see Daisy do any investigating. We just hear her tell Maud about what she's found, which wasn't that interesting to me. And I will say I didn't mind the potential romance that was teased in this book. I kind of liked it. Next, I'm actually going to talk about 2 books together because I read the next 2 books I needed to read in the Veronica Speedwell mysteries, An Unexpected Peril and An Impostor. I gave both of these books 3 stars, which was very disappointing because I have mentioned many times before that I love the Veronica Speedwell mysteries. This was the series that got me into historical mysteries and helped me realize how much I love this subgenre. Basically, this series takes place in 1880s Victorian London. Our main character, Veronica Speedwell, is a strong-willed lady adventuress who solves crimes with her colleague and later lover, Stoker. Now, I absolutely fell in love with these books in the beginning because I love Deanna Raybourn's witty writing, and I really loved the romantic relationship between Veronica and Stoker. I was so happy when the 2 of them finally became a couple because I shipped them so hard. Now, these 2 books, in my opinion, were a bit disappointing. I don't think they were actively bad, but they did not have the same spark for me that I felt like earlier books in the series did. I have noticed in the past few volumes that I don't really think the mystery storylines have been all that great. I haven't really been surprised by where the mystery plot lines go. I have been able to predict the murderer in the past few books that I've read. The other thing that I did not like about these 2 books is I felt like Veronica did not treat Stoker very fairly. by the time we get to these two books, the two of them are in a romantic relationship, but I feel like Veronica is still holding Stoker at arm's length, and I don't think she's really being fair to him. Veronica is an independent woman, and so she does fear living in a cage. And so she fears, like, oh, if I commit to someone, is he going to try to change me and want me just to be his wife who's content to sit at home, yada, yada, yada. And I get why she would have that fear, but she doesn't talk to Stoker about it, and she's like assuming that he's going to want to change her when he has never at any point given any indication that he wants a traditional life and a traditional woman. So I was like, why are you not talking to him about this and just making these baseless assumptions about what he wants? And then in An Impossible Impostor, we find out a huge secret from Veronica's past that she has kept from Stoker all this time, when Stoker has told her very personal and painful things about his past. That to me felt like a huge betrayal of his trust. And if I were him, I would have a really hard time being able to continue my relationship with Veronica, knowing that she has kept this from me. I will say, at the end of An Impossible Impostor, it seems like possibly Veronica is finally going to do some soul searching and acknowledge that she has a fear of being hurt that maybe has caused her to treat Stoker unfairly. So I'm hoping that in the next book, A Sinister Revenge, she will make an effort to repair their relationship that she's broken, basically. I just really feel like she was in the wrong in these books, and she did not treat him fairly, because when you're in a romantic relationship, you do have to also consider the other person's feelings. And I understand that Veronica is an independent person. It's good to be independent. But when you are in a relationship with someone, to a certain extent, they do get a say in what you do with your life. The two of you are meant to be partners, so you can't just do whatever you want and think the other person doesn't get a say in it, because that's just unfair. The two of you are supposed to be equals in the relationship, so compromise is necessary, and you should communicate your feelings to the other person. I just really think she was not being fair to him or treating him as an equal. That's what I really didn't like about these books. Again, the mystery storylines were just okay. They really didn't wow me either. I am tentatively hopeful, based on the end of An Impossible Impostor, that Veronica is going to learn something from this and grow and actually do some self-reflection. Hopefully. So I will read the next book, but I have to admit the last few installments in this series I haven't loved them like I loved the first 4-ish books in this series. Then my Read Christie pick for the month of April was The Pale Horse. I gave this 4 stars. I did really like it while I was reading it, though I have to say I'm already having a hard time remembering everything that happened in the book, so I don't think it's going to be one that stays with me for a long time. It was enjoyable while I was reading it, though. This book is a standalone, but it does have some crossover with other Agatha Christie novels. The character of Ariadne Oliver makes an appearance in this. Ariadne Oliver is basically Agatha Christie's caricature of herself. She's a famous mystery novelist, and she also appears in the Peril novels. Also, funnily enough, so my Read Christie pick for March was The Moving Finger, a Miss Marple mystery, and the character of Mrs. Dane Calthorpe from The Moving Finger also appears in The Pale Horse. So that was kind of funny that I just read these back to back, having no idea that there was a crossover between the two of them. This book deals with a series of mysterious deaths that are all connected to this public house known as the Pale Horse. These 3 women at the Pale Horse claim to have supernatural powers. So are they actually killing these people by using supernatural means, or is there more of a realistic explanation? I did like the 2 main characters in this book, Mark and Ginger. I do love Agatha Christie mysteries that include a sleuthing couple in them. That's just one of my favorite tropes, so I enjoyed that. I did really like the two main characters, and I remember I did like the ending. I think the person who ended up being behind this whole thing was at one point the person who I thought did it, but there were kind of, some misdirects along the way, so I wasn't disappointed by the ending by any means. Like I said, though, I am already having a hard time remembering this book, so while I enjoyed it, it's not going to be one of my all-time favorite Christie reads, I think. And finally, in the month of April, I filmed a reading vlog reading two Regency set historical mysteries because I am currently writing a historical mystery set in Regency London, and I was looking for some comparable titles to use when I get to the querying stage. First, I read The Hanover Square Affair by Ashley Gardner. This is the first Captain Lacey Regency mystery. I gave this 3.5 stars. The main character, Captain Lacey, is a former war hero from the Napoleonic Wars who is now returned to London. And when we find out, he has these secrets in his past, of course. In this novel, he's trying to figure out what happened to a young woman whose disappearance might be connected to one of the wealthy residents of Hanover Square. All in all, I thought this book was good. I might check out future installments in the series, but I didn't absolutely love it. I was going to give it 4 stars, and then I lowered my rating because the overall resolution, while it made sense, it was a little bit disappointing. Basically, there's a subplot in this book where Captain Lacey starts investigating the disappearance of another young woman, believing they may be connected. And I was very disappointed because in the end, they end up not being connected at all. So I kind of just felt like, well, why did you include this subplot then? I would have preferred if everything kind of fit together in the end. All in all, though, I thought the book was enjoyable enough that I might see where the series goes, but I'm not really sure. And finally, I was really disappointed in this one. I read Murder on Black Swan Lane, the first Rexford and Sloane mystery by Andrea Penrose. I gave this 3 stars, not a bad rating by any means, but I was really disappointed because I've heard so many good things about this series. So many people have told me to check it out. They thought I would like it. And I was just not that impressed. I didn't think the book was bad, but I wanted so much more from it. The two main characters in the series are the Earl of Rexford, a gentleman scientist, and Charlotte Sloane, a strong-willed widow who uses the pseudonym A.J. Quill to write political cartoons in the newspaper. Is it a newspaper or just some other, a magazine? I don't know. But it has the setup for a really great mystery with a slow burn romance at its core, and that's my favorite type of historical mysteries. Who knew solving crimes in the 1800s could be so sexy? Not me, but it's my new favorite, very specific trope. Obviously, you can go watch that vlog for my full thoughts. I explained what wasn't really working for me with this book in that video. I'll try to summarize it a little more succinctly here. I liked the Earl of Rexford perfectly well. Charlotte Sloane, I felt like, while she was okay, she to me just felt like the quintessential historical mystery heroine that I read about many times before, without something to elevate her and make her a very memorable character for me. She at times accuses the Earl of Rexford of patronizing her. However, I also feel like at times he had valid points, and Charlotte was doing things that were dangerous and she probably shouldn't be doing. So I feel like while maybe he could have had a better delivery, he did have a fair point. And so I didn't really like how the author framed it as in he was 100% in the wrong and she was 100% in the right. I think there should be a little more gray area to it than that. I thought that the structure of this book was a little odd because, well, one, I totally guessed who the murderer was. 2, the murderer is revealed with 20 to 25% of the book remaining, which was a little odd, you know. I feel like it should have been closer to the end to keep the suspense and the tension high. The other thing that really bothered me about this book, and I forgot to mention it in the blog, this book does not pass the Bechdel test. I do not think there is a single female character in this book other than Charlotte Sloane. There's no other named female character who actually has a single line of dialogue. That bothered me because I like books that do have strong female characters and female friendships. So that was really lacking for me. And I felt like Charlotte Sloane at times had not like the other girls vibes. Like, she dresses up like a man. I rolled my eyes because I just hate it when, you know, in order to be considered a strong female character, the female character has to have masculine characteristics. Like, why can't she be strong and also wear gowns? They're not mutually exclusive. There was a line complaining about corsets. Watch my historical fiction pet peeves video. I freaking hate it how historical fiction authors go on about how oppressive corsets are. Like, they weren't that bad. I mean, I do not go around in my day-to-day life constantly thinking about how restrictive my bra is. And if you do go around thinking about how restrictive your bra is, you're probably not wearing the right size. It's no different with corsets. So while I did not actively dislike this book, I was really disappointed because I've heard people talk about how great it is and how they thought I was really going to like it. It just did not stand out to me. I feel no burning desire to read the next book. However, I want to hear from you. Should I give this series another chance? Do you think that it gets better as it goes on? I know this is a very popular historical mystery series, so let me know your thoughts. Do you think it's worth continuing? So everyone, those are all of the books that I read in April. There were 2 other books that I also started in April, but it was May by the time I finished them, so I will include those in my May wrap-up. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you next time.